Namaskar. Today in the 50th episode of Granthayatra, we are going to travel to the 18th century Maharashtra, especially to the city of Pune. The Marathi speaking people are fond of history. The brilliant legacy of the Maratha Empire and the long tradition of literature in Marathi could be the reason for this fondness. A beautiful confluence of both these traditions is seen in historical novel. The practice of writing historical novels, which began with Haribhau Apte in the late 19th century, continues even today. In this episode, we are going to talk about a novel based on a very important period in the history of Marathas and on the life of a great leader. Written by Ranjit Desai and based on the life of Madhavrao Peshwe I, this novel is Swami. Ranjit Desai was born in Kovad village of Kolhapur district in 1928. Historical figures, life in rural areas and nature were the main topics of his writings. He published several collections of short stories such as The Palace of Beauty, Compassion, The Boulder, Fragrance and Madhumati. After writing novels such as Bari and My Village, he wrote Swami in 1962. His later novels Shriman Yogi, based on the life of King Shivaji, and Radheya, based on the life of Karna, the great warrior in Mahabharata, also became hugely popular. In addition, Desai wrote novels such as Pavan Khind or The Blessed Gorge, King Ravi Varma, and popular plays such as The Dash of the Eagle, Ram Shastri, Tansen, the King of Melody, He Bandha Reshamache or The Silken Bonds and The Golden Deer. In the 12th episode of Granthayatra, we had heard about the Battle of Panipat, in which the Marathas had suffered a damning defeat. They had suffered a huge loss of life, treasures and their honor. A young 16-year-old Madhavrao was appointed as Peshwa on this background. During his short but brilliant tenure of 11 years, he succeeded in restoring the lost strength and glory of the Maratha kingdom. He recaptured the regions lost during the previous battles, defeated his enemies such as the Nizam and Haidar in the south and the Mughals in the north, foiled the conspiracies by his own uncle and other generals, strengthened the governance and judiciary in his kingdom, established factories to produce guns and mint coins, and cared for the welfare of his subjects. The life of this valiant, noble but short-lived Peshwa is the story of the novel Swami. Desai recreates the historical period of the Peshwas through skillful background descriptions, effective characterization, and incidents based on comprehensive research but made colorful through imagination. The accomplishments of a dazzling and honorable administrator and his sad end touches the hearts of the readers. The novel begins at the grand gates of Shanwarwada, the majestic residence of the Peshwas and their seat of power. It was just past noon. The sun was rapidly progressing towards west. The saffron flag was gracefully fluttering over the drum house on the Delhi gate of Shanwarwada. The massive spiked Delhi gate, standing under the protection of the solid towers on either side, was wide open. The royal guard was standing with their usual discipline at this north-facing gate. Desai then takes us inside through this gate and brings us to the Maharashtra of the Peshwa era. Through detailed descriptions of Shanwarwada, the royal court, the meetings at the Peshwa's office, the customs of the period and the wars and battles, he recreates that historic period in the minds of the readers. Along with his courage on the battlefield and his political career, Desai also narrates incidents in the Peshwa's personal life, especially the delicate love between Madhavrao and his wife Rama blossoms through several small incidents. By narrating incidents such as the one where Madhavrao insists that Ramabai should give him company for eating the betel leaf, or the occasion when he leaves a music concert by a well-known singer to spend time with his wife, or the one where he proudly carries the blot of Ramabai's vermilion on his robes, Desai successfully paints the human side of this great leader. He stresses Madhav Rao's loving and pure heart along with his bravery and heroism on the minds of the readers. Similarly, Ramabai is characterized as a loving wife who spends restless nights worrying for her husband when he is on the battlefield, who gives him right advice and acts as his pillar of strength during his illness, and thus becomes a prominent character in the novel. Early in the novel, we come across the incident of the betel leaf. When they are visiting Theur, Madhav Rao insists that Ramabai should also eat the betel leaf to give him company. Ramabai's delicate lips turned red within a few moments. Madhav Rao said, "So the betel leaf has brought color to your lips." "Betel leaf always does that. It's colored your lips too." "It doesn't bring this color without a reason," Madhav Rao said, winking at her. "I don't understand." "Don't you know? Betel leaf colors your lips only if there is love between you and your spouse." "You are joking." "Why? You don't agree? Tell me." For an instant, Ramabai looked at Madhav Rao and then said, "Do you need a betel leaf to know that?" Madhav Rao looked up with surprise. Ramabai lost her courage. Avoiding Madhav Rao's gaze, she quickly picked up the plate and left. This episode not only reveals the love between Madhav Rao and Ramabai, but also convinces Madhav Rao of Ramabai's intelligence and maturity. Her love becomes his source of strength during his scintillating career. Along with this loving relationship, Desai also develops another close but bitter relationship in Madhav Rao's life with great skill. Madhav Rao's relationship with his uncle Raghoba Dada, who also happens to be the brave Maratha general who had led the victorious Maratha army right up to Attock, causes lifelong agony to Madhav Rao because of Raghoba Dada's constant efforts to create hurdles in his path. When the Nizam attacks the Maratha forces end up victorious. But before they are able to defeat him completely, Raghoba Dada signs a treaty with the Nizam. Later, he abandons Madhav Rao while on the campaign of Karnataka and returns to Pune. Following the advice of his generals Gangoba Tatya and Sakharam Bapu, he leaves for Vadgaon and signs a deal with the Nizam. He then attacks Madhav Rao's forces, and Madhav Rao is left with no choice but to surrender unconditionally. In return for his help, Raghoba Dada hands over precious territory to Nizam that had been gained by Madhav Rao's forces earlier. Madhav Rao's close associates are forced to abandon him. Raghoba Dada also starts a conspiracy to dethrone the king of Satara, to whom Madhav Rao owes allegiance, and to install Janoji Bhosle in his place. But within a few days, Nizam breaches the conditions of the treaty and attacks Maratha territory. As a result of Raghoba Dada's thoughtless administration, the Maratha kingdom is surrounded by difficulties from all sides. Nizam begins to plan an attack on the city of Pune. A stunned Raghoba Dada pleads Madhav Rao for advice. Madhav Rao then takes over the control, and like a seasoned leader, he makes some rapid decisions. Soon after, when the Maratha forces are engaged in a fight with the Nizam's army at Rakshas Bhuvan, Raghoba Dada loses the battle. Nizam's soldiers surround the elephant that he is riding and begin to march it towards the enemy camp. That's when Madhav Rao charges into the battle with his section of the army and rescues Raghoba Dada. The thrilling description of this battle should be read in the original from the novel. Early in the novel, we come across the incident of the betel leaf. When they are visiting Theur, Madhavrao insists that Ramabai should also eat the betel leaf to give him company. Ramabai's delicate lips turned red within a few moments. Madhavrao said, "So the betel leaf has brought color to your lips." "Betel leaf always does that. It's colored your lips too." "It doesn't bring this color without a reason," Madhavrao said, winking at her. "I don't understand." "Don't you know? Betel leaf colors your lips only if there is love between you and your spouse." "You're joking." "Why? You don't agree? Tell me." For an instant, Ramabai looked at Madhavrao and then said, "Do you need a betel leaf to know that?" Madhavrao looked up with surprise. Ramabai lost her courage. Avoiding Madhavrao's gaze, she quickly picked up the plate and left. This episode not only reveals the love between Madhavrao and Ramabai, but also convinces Madhavrao of Ramabai's intelligence and maturity. Her love becomes his source of strength during his scintillating career. After this victory, Madhavrao regains the control of administration. One after another, he leads several campaigns against his enemies, forms a friendship with the Nizam, and strengthens the borders of his kingdom. He restores the glory of Pune city that had been devastated in the raid by the Nizam and brings justice to its people. Meanwhile, Raghoba Dada continues to engage in conspiracies against Madhavrao, who is finally compelled to put Raghoba Dada under house arrest. But the constant physical and mental struggles take a toll on Madhavrao's health. He develops tuberculosis. Realizing that his end is near, he begins to make final arrangements with courage. His qualities of bravery, political acumen, and diplomacy now lead to foresight, reticence, and courage to face death without fear. Desai also effectively portrays the agitation in Ramabai's mind because of Madhavrao's illness, her worry and helplessness, and the resulting mature understanding. Madhavrao passes away, and the novel ends by describing Ramabai's decision to commit sati and the actual event of her burning on the pyre of her husband. The novel was criticized for glorifying the practice of sati, for supporting feudalism, and for focusing more on family feuds rather than on the historical circumstances. Let us hear more about the merits and demerits of this novel from Professor Vaijayanti Peshwe.
स्वामी या कादंबरीने रणजित देसाईंना इतकी लोकप्रियता मिळवून दिली की देसाई स्वामीकार झाले. स्वामीने एक इतिहास घडवला. वि. स. खांडेकरांना थोरल्या माधवऱ्या पेशव्यांच्या जीवनावर अजिंक्य नावाची कादंबरी लिहायची होती, पण प्रकृती अस्वास्थ्यामुळे ते शक्य झाले नाही आणि म्हणून त्यांनी अजिंक्य या कादंबरीसाठी गोळा केलेली सगळी साधनसामुग्री रणजित देसाईंकडे सुपूर्द केली. त्यानंतर जवळपास 2 वर्षाचा प्रदीर्घ अभ्यास करून देसाईंनी या कादंबरीचे लेखन केलेले आहे. इतिहासकार ग्रँड डफ म्हणतो, माधवरावांचा मृत्यू हा पानिपतावरील मराठ्यांच्या पराभवापेक्षाही अधिक जबर असा मराठी साम्राज्यावरील आघात होय. या एकाच वाक्यावरून माधवरावांच्या कर्तृत्वाचा अंदाज लागतो. स्वामी ही ऐतिहासिक कादंबरी आहे. इतिहासाच्या आधारे सुंदर कलाकृती निर्माण करताना नुसता व्यासंगच पुरेसा नाही, तर लेखकाला स्थलकालाशी तादात्म्य पावणे गरजेचे आहे. त्यातील घटना व प्रसंग विशिष्ट काळात घडलेले आहे या संभाव्यतेची मर्यादा त्याला पाळावी लागते. सत्याला पोषक ठरेल एवढाच कल्पनाशक्तीचा विहार त्याला करावा लागतो. ऐतिहासिक सत्याशी बेमालूमपणे एकरूप होऊ शकणाऱ्या कल्पिताचा वापर करण्याचे भान त्याला सतत ठेवावे लागते. या सर्व कसोट्यांवर स्वामी ही कादंबरी खरी उतरली आहे. इतिहासाशी इमान राखणारी पण स्वतंत्र अशी ही एक भाव कादंबरी आहे. स्वामीचे कथानक एकूण 11 वर्षाचे आहे. वयाच्या 16व्या वर्षी पेशवाईचे वस्त्र धारण करणारे माधवराव तर त्यांच्या मृत्यूपर्यंतच्या सगळ्या घटनांचे चित्रण या कादंबरीत आलेली आहे. थोडक्यात माधवराव पेशव्यांच्या जीवनाची ही चरित्रगंगाच आहे. कादंबरीचे 3 भाग आहेत. पहिल्या भागात राजकारण आणि लढाया यांचा उल्लेख आहे, तर तिसऱ्या भागात देसाईंनी रमा माधवाच्या जीवनाचे अतिशय सुंदर, सात्विक, साज चढवलेले वर्णन केलेले आहे. रमा माधवाच्या भावकथेचा शोध यात घेतलेला आहे. माधवरावांच्या जीवनात नियतीने साधलेला दैवदुर्विलास लेखकाने अतिशय कल्पकतेने रेखाटलेला आहे. देशहितासाठी देहाची कुरवंडी करणारे माधवराव हे महाराष्ट्राच्या अस्मितेचे तेजाचे प्रतीक आहे. स्वामी वाचकांना एका ऐश्वर्यसंपन्न, वैभवशाली, भव्य दिव्य वातावरणात घेऊन जाते. त्या वातावरणाने वाचक भारावून जातो. हेही कदाचित या कादंबरीच्या यशाचे एक कारण असेल. लेखकाने आधुनिक भाषेचा वापर केला असला तरी ती भावपूर्ण व चित्रदर्शी आहे. कथन आणि संवाद याची सुंदर गुंफण लेखकाने साधलेली आहे. कादंबरीतील पात्रांचे व्यक्तिचित्रण करताना लेखकाच्या लेखणीने कुंचल्याचे काम केले आहे. कुटील राघोबादादा, दुष्ट आनंदीबाई, न्यायनिष्ठूर रामशास्त्री, घरबेदी सखाराम बापू, पोरसवदा नारायणराव या सर्व व्यक्तिरेखा परिणामकारक उतरल्या आहेत. रमाबाई व माधवराव या 2 सुसंस्कृत मनाचे हळूवार चित्रण करताना जे काही नाजूक कलाकुसर लेखकाने केली आहे त्याने वाचक थक्क होतो. ऐतिहासिक व्यक्ती आणि प्रसंग याचे कलात्मक वर्णन करण्यात लेखक यशस्वी ठरले आहेत. कादंबरीची सुरुवात माधवरावांच्या दरबाराने होते, तर शेवट माधवरावांचा मृत्यू आणि रमाबाईच्या सती जाण्याच्या प्रसंगाने होतो. करुण रस हा या कादंबरीचा प्रधान रस आहे, पण यातील कारुण्य दुबळे करणारे नाही, चिरंतन मूल्यावरचा विश्वास वाढवणारे आहे. यातील कारुण्याने चित्तवृत्ती हेलावतात, पण मन मात्र उदात्त होते. राज्याची स्वप्ने साकार झाली, पण संसाराची स्वप्न तशीच राहून गेली. या माधवरावांच्या वेदनामय उद्गाराने इतिहासातील मोठ्या व्यक्ती देखील आपल्यासारख्याच हाडामासाच्या असतात असे चित्रण करण्यात लेखक यशस्वी झालेले आहे. पाहता पाहता ज्वाला धडाडू लागल्या. काही दिसेनासे झाले. क्षणभर दर्शन झाले ते ज्वालांच्या सोबतीने फडफडणाऱ्या रेशमी श्वेत पदराचे. इथे कादंबरी संपते, पण खऱ्या अर्थाने ती संपत नाही. वाचक रसिकांच्या मनात या प्रसंगाने विचारांची असंख्य वलये निर्माण होतात. रमा माधवाचा मृत्यू शोकांतिका न ठरता एका उदात्त पातळीवर जातो, हेच लेखकाचे यश आहे. स्वामीला रसिकांनी डोक्यावर घेतले. अनेक पुरस्कारांची ती मानकरी ठरली, पण त्यावर भरपूर टीकाही झाली. पण शेवटी कादंबरी म्हणून रसग्रहण करताना ही कादंबरी ऐतिहासिक जरी असली तरी ती प्रथम एक कलाकृती आहे याचे भान ठेवणे गरजेचे आहे असे मला वाटते.
Do read the novel Swami that effectively describes the life, accomplishments and the poignant and grave personal life of Madhavrao Peshwe, and let us know your thoughts on why it acquired a place in the readers' hearts. This concludes the 50th episode of Granthayatra. Through the 50 books featured in this series, we have seen the journey of Marathi literature, beginning with the Bhakti literature which emerged in Marathi in the 12th century, to the books written in 1962. We are grateful to the wonderful response of our discerning viewers. We profusely thank the 32 experts who made invaluable contributions through their erudite inputs. We shall now take a break of 2 weeks. We shall meet again on November 13 to discuss a new book. Until then, keep reading.